Yes, good to be
Let's
seen.
get this in. Go here.
Here I am.
Go
Here
to
you are.
research.
There you
Lucky
are.
you, Dave. I decided to put makeup on today. I was ready.
I did too.
I did too. So
Woo!
I knew I was forgetting something. Dang it.
Right? Go back. Try that again.
Right.
Now I broke my glasses, so I gotta take my glasses off so I can't see.
that's crazy.
Broke the middle piece. So you see.
Where
It
were we? We're
I don't
at
know.
was a wild vacation.
the...
Yes, my
Where's
friend's
Sil-
60th birthday who thinks she's still 20.
Ah, Arte.
I'm talking twerking contests and everything. I said, oh my.
Ooh.
that's some imagery right there.
Yeah, it was wild.
What happens at the 60th birthday party stays.
Yeah, that's what I'm not saying names, no video shared.
It's like Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm trying to do one more thing before we get this sucker going. I'm not sure I'm going to do it. I'm not sure I have the wherewithal to do it. Well, let's see. Sole source handout says briefing topics. Selling to the government. Handouts. Let's get this new winnable opportunity matrix in there. Boom. Get rid of that one. Get the year-to-date spending report in there. Boom. I think we got it. Copy. Let me send this to Araya. But bam. Boop. All right, guys, you ready to go live? It's about that time.
Still
We
out.
already are live.
We're already live.
Oh, someone
Who's
pushed
hit
the
the
button.
button?
Not Todd.
Oops. Daisy.
Somebody hit the button. Sorry about that. You saw behind the scenes. There we go. Welcome, everybody. No idea that we were actually live, but welcome anyway. All right, we're going to get this puppy cooking. Somebody hit the button. Must have been with the new peoples.
The newbies. Blame it on the
Newbies.
newbies.
We're going to blame
We
it
know
on
it
the
wasn't
newbies,
Peter.
no matter what.
We know it wasn't Peter. We can't blame Peter.
We got to get we got to let Brian get his lovely face out here in front of
Yeah.
everybody too.
Do you hear me, Dave?
I can, man. I
Yeah,
can't
you know,
see you
I'm not-
though.
I know I'm having a problem with my camera. I might just come on my cell phone.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
All right. You've been having that problem for a
I
minute.
know I can't figure it out. I have a new computer and I can't figure out how to get. I did something to my camera. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
crazy, man.
yeah,
Well-
yeah. And I'm on my
Well,
other.
get with Todd. Todd will help you.
Yeah. Talk to me offline. Well, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of knows that kind of stuff a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know.
A little
I
bit,
don't know what
a
it
A little
is.
bit. He tries to pretend. He's a poser, but he doesn't.
Morning from Nashville. Todd Crane. Woohoo.
That's right. All right, welcome everybody. We're going to kick this puppy off. One word for doing business with the government. Put that in the chat for us. I've been tooling back and forth with different folks this morning. A lot of different people I was pinging, and they were asking me questions about stuff. So I want to make sure we get this right. One word for doing business with the government. Put it in the chat. Let us know also where you're from. We'd love to. Intense, Rafael Marrero. Who's got another one? I got a list of them. We got like 4,000 people registered for this because we just keep it kind of rolling. So I'll pull up that list if I have to. But let's get your one word for doing business with the government. Jay Talbot. Huh?
Well,
It's crunch time. Last 3 weeks. You know why? Look at Uncle Sam. He looks pretty angry. You know why he's angry? He's got to spend over $220 billion in the last three weeks. That's why. Because they are backed up, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get that. So do us a favor, put in your one word for doing business with the government. You can put it in the chat. Is everybody able to chat? Is this working?
yeah, it works.
So far, I've only seen the.
Only seen it from us. Oh, there we go. Alicia, finally, we got somebody. It must be one
Savannah,
like a Monday.
Savannah.
Must be a Monday.
Jay Talbot responded as well.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, Ben's got complicated. Love it, love it, love it. Let us know your one word. Let me see. Was talking to John. I got John here. We're gonna unmute John in a few minutes. Let John do it. So the last 3 weeks, the next 57 weeks. Why are we doing 57 weeks? Why would we even talk about that? Well, guess what? What happens October 1st, Todd Crane?
There's a whole new pot of money.
Whole new
We started
pot of
all
money.
over again.
And it starts all over again. That's right. Hold on a second. Let's see if Brian can. Let me see if I can get you in, Brian.
Yeah, I'm here.
Share your screen or your lovely face. We might want to turn it back off after you turn it on, but we'll try.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get to know each other a little bit. Let's see if I can find it. All right. Let's see. Get to know each other. Let's see. Is this the right one? It is the right one. All right. Here we go. Let's talk. Let's get to know you guys. How long you guys been in business? And do you have any federal business now? Are you direct federal contract awardee? We got folks who are 20 years plus. Love it. Some as a sub or a teaming partner or not yet. Because this is an interesting session always to figure out who pops in here. And here are the hot seat questions. Folks, here we go. You ready? You ready, Rafa? Here we go.
I'm ready.
Here we go. How can I bid on opportunities in SDVOSB? What is the process for winning Sole Source Awards? And we're going to talk about tips for the last 2 to 3 weeks. I should say 3 weeks. I pulled that from last year. All right, 3 weeks actually. So quick disclaimer, this event's not affiliated with any agency. You should be happy about that, everybody. Participation does not guarantee an award. That's a shocker. Isn't it, Brian, that we don't guarantee an award by being here?
Never, Dave. Never.
That's a shocker. All right. So, and in Govies, if you'd like to participate as a Govie, because every once in a while we get a Govie here, and it's voluntary, and it is not a commitment to purchase from any vendor. We love participation. We love the questions. We got 35 folks here, so raise your hand, put it in the Q&A. We'll try to keep track. We also love reactions. That means thumbs up or smacking people around if they're being stupid. Right, Sally? We don't believe in anything except smacking people around and giving thumbs up.
Yeah, we smack.
All right.
We talk smack.
We will today connect you with experts. We got a bunch of them here. We'll be discussing what works, and we'll be doing shameless plugs for
Super
our
shameless.
sponsors and our partners. Why? Because we can't do this alone, and we need help. I got help from folks. Everybody here has gotten help from people, and we want to make sure that you have access to the help. I'll introduce you to the folks that are here. Why are we here today? Where are we? We are in fiscal year 2024, Q4, last 3 weeks. I'm going to have session docs for you in a moment. And you'll be able to download these. That'll include the winnable opportunity matrix, the 2023 spending year to date, 2024 should say. It's 2024. You can tell I swiped this from last September's program. I can tell you that. All right. So where are we? All this data is provided by FPDS and SAM.gov. Hey, Todd Crane, what is FPDS? Uh-oh, you're muted.
FPDS is the performance database for all the federal contracts.
And
So when they report how much they've, the money being spent and the performance on those contracts.
That's right. So, Brian Hebel, you are a former contracting officer. You used to plug stuff into FPDS all the time, right?
Yeah, we would plug it in, but then we never saw what was on the back end. So we would plug information on every action, whether it was an admin mod or a $10,000 mod or a $100 million mod. We would put it in FPDS, but then, we can never see on the back end what we put in.
So this particular report, which I'm going to share with you in just a minute, let me see if I have it. Here we go. Selling to the government. Let me grab this. I'm going to put this into the chat. So everybody do me a favor and click on that and make sure it goes to this place here, where you have your fiscal year.
Confirming it absolutely does, Dave.
Everybody want to give me a thumbs up that you can get to that? Everybody in the audience, because it's not about the panelists. It's the audience. Everybody give me a thumbs up that you get to that.
Wait, it's not all about me?
It's not. That's right. It's all about me. It's all about me. All right. So good deal. We got it. All right. Fantastic. So you got it. So the reason why we're doing this, I want to show this. Everything in this report that you see on the summary is relative to the number of offers received. Number of offers received means that the contracting officers, like Todd Crane used to be in contracting, like Brian Hebel used to be in contracting, right, Brian? You would get a
Amen.
number of offers. And can you, for everybody's posterity, do us a favor and tell us about the not reported, Brian Hebel? What does that mean?
Say again, the not reported?
Not reported. If it's not reported on FPDS, if you put it in, not report, and the number of offers received is not reported, that usually means.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm still trying to get my camera on, but it certainly if the number of offers is not reported, I always think of it being as one.
So that's
they got one offer.
One offer, right? So the reason why this is important for everybody is I'm going to show you some things. When you look at this, the number of contracts, the percentage of contracts, 80% of contracts, 60% of the dollars have what? Have what? No competition. Because there's different avenues for them to be able to purchase. When you look at this is unprecedented. It started in 2019, back in 2019, all the way from 2000, when I got involved and I saw FPDS for the first time, started churning through these numbers. Since then, it was running anywhere from 34 to 36% to 2019. Now we're at 80%. This is brand new for everybody. So the other part of this is 89% have 5 or fewer. Does everybody agree that we want to be in this group where 89% of the contracts, 93% of the dollars are shortlisted? That means that the federal buyers know who you are and they choose to invite you to bid, right, Brian? You can do that, right? That's legal by the FAR, right?
Yep.
Yep. So my question is, where do you want to spend your time? Do you want to spend your time here with the 89% and 93% of the dollars, or do you want to spend your time here with a ton of competition and 11% of the contracts and 7% of the dollars? So we can choose to be here, we can choose to be here. And take a look at this. This is as of the 1st of this month. Here's the delta. Hey guys, guess what? How do you like that Greek symbol? What do you think?
I like it.
Now we're speaking. I'm speaking in different languages. Rafael Marrero, you should be proud of me, man.
Oh, I am. I'm not worthy.
So this is $5.2 million, 5.2 million contracts that never show up on SAM.gov.
How's that even
That's
possible?
why part of your plan in fiscal year 2025 is to build relationships. Is there anybody here that would disagree that relationships trump everything? Everybody believe that? Thumbs up if you believe that. Because relationships, I got into this world through relationships. If it wasn't for a guy named Jim Williams, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. He was the head of GSA FAS. He sat down with me for 45 minutes in Crystal City, back when he was the head of FAS, and he gave me the lay of the land. Without Jim, I wouldn't be here. And then without other people that were helping me, consultants helping me, people that I needed their resources. That's why we're here. So my question is, hey, I'm going to get back. I need to end this poll, actually. First of all, I need to end this poll. And now I got to go back to my other polls. I'll go back and do that other poll in a minute. 1 second. I want to know, how do I get rid of this stuff? Zoom has changed some things. All right. Did you know about the 98%? Yes, and it's nuts. Or maybe you knew something was missing, but you didn't know it was 98%. And maybe this is the first time you're hearing about it. Or maybe you don't even believe what I'm saying. I love when people don't believe what I'm saying because it makes me prove it to them. So when we're talking about relationships, and I love this. So we're talking about relationships. I want to ask a question, and we can pop open. If you have the answer to this, hold on a sec. Tim, I'd love to you got your hand up, Tim and Cynthia. You just waving high or just saying that you got your stuff, or you got something to say? I want to ask the question. For anybody that wants to answer this, raise your hand. When's the best time to plant a tree? Anybody want to raise your hand and tell me when the best time to plant a tree?
Anytime is always a good time,
Now,
right?
Bernie, that's the second best time to plant a tree.
Mhm.
That's the second best. I love it, Bernie. The first time to plant a tree, best time is 5 years ago, because then you got fruit, right? So the second best time to plant a tree is right now. Like, you got it, Bernie. That's the only one we can really have control over, right? But there's a lot of folks that want to get into this place and say, and I got a message from John. Hang on a second, John. Let me find you, John. You still here? Hey, John. You there, John? Can you unmute for a second? Pierre Paoli. John, you there?
Well, we're waiting for him. Tim also has a question.
All right, cool. What's Tim's question?
He's asking about in this era of Buy American, do Canadian firms have a chance at federal contracts?
Great question. Great question. The only people that don't have a chance at federal contracts are the ones that are not BAA or TAA compliant, cannot reach BAA or TAA compliance. That's it. There's Canadian folks, right? Right, Todd?
Absolutely. In fact, I would honestly say that there are even contracts that are exempt from that. The big thing is that as long as you're not Iranian, North Korean, or, Russian, that kind of stuff, then you're
Cuban,
okay. And certain Chinese.
Venezuelan, Cuban from the regime.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
As long as you're not one of those, you're fine.
There's
Yeah.
the 7 bad boys that are definitely precluded. There's some other ones too,
Yeah.
Pakistan and others that they don't shine on. But all right, so we have 61% has responded to about the 98%, and nobody's saying they don't believe it. I love that. Must have been very convincing with that first slide. All right, so on that.
John's back too, if you want to talk to him.
Hey, John, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, I'm here.
So, John, you were asking the question, and I missed it, and I emailed you. Your question was, how do you get directly to the buyers, right?
And now, because we've already been through registering for this and getting that, we've already done all of that.
You've already done the registrations. You've already been working on those things, and the other part was you want to get to buyers now because you want to reach them and sell to them directly. What do you sell?
We sell all different types of drilling and cutting tools for concrete.
Drilling and
Pretty
cutting tools.
much- Yeah, it's pretty much used in any roadway, boat dock, airport, any place that needs drilling and cutting, which is primarily within transportation.
So that's that kind of niche oriented, right? Dealing with concrete, but looking at transportation. Exactly the process for being able to take a look. Now, your NAICS code and your PSC, are you familiar with PSC's, product service codes?
We just started learning a little bit about that.
Cool. So your NAICS codes and things like that, they're generic. Everybody's got them, but they're generic. But we want to be able to do this. So the reason why I'm painting this picture for you is because everybody else is in the same spot you are, John. Is that you have to watch for opportunities, right? You have to monitor activity. And from October to August, we're spending time building relationships so that we get on the short list. That's our job. Doesn't matter what you sell. Now your short list is going to include directly to the contract folks at the government, right? You want the federal buyers to know about you because they're buying what you sell, right? Would everybody agree that they buy what everybody? Does everybody agree that the government buys what you sell?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? Everybody agree with
Yes.
that. So then what happens though in September, and this is why and why I wanted to unmute you, is right now you don't have time to engage and build relationships, because if you look at the winnable opportunity matrix that I put in the handouts, you can download that later, but we don't have time for that. We just have time to monitor activity, and then we let September minimize the competition by just resources, right? Because there's going to be 25,000 opportunities that will hit sam.gov between now and September 30th. Active opportunities. So we don't want to miss those, right? Right, John? You don't want to miss those.
At all.
And not at all. So to your point, what we want to do is we want to get that. So now another shameless plug for everybody. 1 p.m. today, I will be talking about monitoring sam.gov and how you can find things on sam.gov and winnable opportunities. You can.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead, John.
From what I see and, put my time into this stuff, Sam's versus Dibs, because we sell products, but we also have a service, right?
Yep.
So if somebody they have to drill a hole for a plumbing line, they need a core drill bit. We sell that product, but we also have the ability, if they want to sub it out, and not do it in-house per se. We have crews that go out and do that. So we're finding that Sam's is more of contracts on labor and Dibs is more products.
You're probably right, because what is Dibs? Anybody tell everybody what Dibs is?
Dibs seems to be how the DLA does most of their purchasing.
That's correct.
It's a
Know a
defense.
little bit about that, Todd Crane?
This is the first time hearing about Dibs actually, so
Okay. So
I'm speechless for once.
so Dibs
Is
Dibs
the
is
defense?
a place where you can go, you can register, you have to register on Dibs too, right, John?
Yep, you have to, and again, so my email to you, right, was how do I do business now?
How you do business?
So,
Everybody wants that same thing, John.
well, I don't know who's on this call, so I'll keep it as nice as I can. And when you're in business for 20 years and you're in New York, which is a little bit of a different animal, our cost of doing business here is much greater.
Yep.
Probably the highest in the country. Okay. You have to be able to cover those costs. And when you have that type of outlay, you find out that you're essentially competing with somebody that's working out of their home. It's a very hard piece to fill, right?
Yep.
So we do it through service, we do it through superior products, and that's how we kind of do what we do.
And for the most of the time, you're going to be investing some time in building those relationships. They got to know who you are. They need to know, right? Then they need to know that you have the ability to deliver, right? Building that
Correct.
trust to solve the problems and influencing the process so you can actually get spec'd in. Your products could get spec'd in, which is getting your fingerprints on the scope of work.
Correct. So
Right.
that's something we just recently learned about having our brand submitted as an alternate, but we're just trying to get our foot in the door.
Yep.
And on the service side, a lot of these old military bases, most people wouldn't have the know-how on how to drill those 5 or 6 foot foundation walls, and that's where we would be of service there.
Yep.
So
So
we're-
you're like, John, you're like everybody else, right? You have products, you have services, you have your offering, and what we're going to be talking about today is what you can do now. And I want to help you focus on October through August, and I want to point you towards Sam Radar. Yes, that's a selfish, absolutely 100%. Well, no, it's not a selfish plug. It's a selfish plug because I developed Sam Radar, but it's necessary for you to be able to monitor, engage people, because if you don't have a path to engage and get to the buyers, you're never going to win.
So yeah,
Right.
you said a key thing with being shortlisted, right?
Yep.
So I guess that's the best way to go, because the people who would need what we do, they really need to know what we do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right? It's very hard to sell to someone who doesn't know what they want, right?
And when was the last time you bought from somebody you didn't trust?
Never.
Never. Right. So to your point, so this is what I preach. Everybody here already knows it, but this is the first time we've engaged. Everybody here already knows that from October to August, this is what we preach, right? Everybody here preaches build relationships. Build relationships. Get to a place where you're in, because you can't influence the process without the relationship, and you can't build a relationship without the engagement, right? So that becomes the process. So I appreciate, John, and I'm gonna mute you for a minute because if you want to pop on later, you can, because I'll probably reach out to you again. But I appreciate you being here, because we're going to talk about this and
you can't
making
build
sure
the
that you get.
and you can't build the relationship when you need the engagement. You have to build it prior to what you need.
Love that.
Right?
That's right. So I also want to point you to something else, because it is September. We're in September. Winning last minute contracts, ways to be able to do that. There's two people here. First of all, I got Denise here. She's going to be joining me on the 24th. I'm also going to talk about P cards. P cards are of interest to you, John, as well, because anything less than $10,000, you can sell on P cards. And then if you don't win, a lot of us are going to miss contracts, and we may be able to protest. That's Jason Moy. He'll be doing a presentation, actually all by himself, because I'm going to be in Ireland, just saying. So if you want to be the SME in 2025, if you want to help reach program people, this is how we do it on GovBrief. We push things out to the govies, and we do this all year now. We didn't even take a pause in September, because a lot of the folks who are in the program side will come in September, where procurement ain't showing up because their hair's on fire. All right, so hot seat question number 1 is, how can I bid on as a SDVOSB? Rafael Marrero, you help folks get certifications.
Yes, sir.
Tell us what number 1 an SDVOSB is, and number 2, how do they get that certification?
Okay.
So
first and
let's talk about
foremost,
you.
SDVOSB means, or stands for Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business. It's the certification now managed by the United States Small Business Administration and previously managed by the Center for Verification and Eligibility of the VA.
Right.
The VA has concentrated all of the SBA certifications under one umbrella, and they're in the process of consolidating and rolling out a new portal for certified.sba.gov with all of the combined certs together there. So in order to qualify for the Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business certification, one must that entity must be a small business as defined by NAICS code. Number 2, the primary owner, 51% owner, and person responsible for the day-to-day operations must have completed the minimum requirement of service, active duty military service. So sometimes when you're in the reserves, you don't necessarily qualify for this. And you must have been honorably discharged from the armed forces, okay? And you must also have a service-connected disability that the VA has given you of at least 10% or more. And you can then apply for the credential that would enable you as a company owner. And of course, you're in charge of the day-to-day operations of the firm and can justify your involvement. You're not just an absentee owner with a picture frame up on the wall. You're actually involved in the day-to-day operations and make the final decisions and write the checks, do the hiring and firing and all that good stuff. And they're going to verify that. So if you meet those conditions and other criteria for success that the government now has set forth in the SBA program, then you qualify for this credential called the Service Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business certification, which now qualifies your firm to compete for up to 5% of all set-asides. It was 3% before, now it's 5% in the federal government. And that's the program that we can help you get certified and participate in through the SBA program.
So that's why I reached out to you first, because number 1, you have to have the certification. It has to be active. You can't just be one. You have to be certified, right?
That's right.
And to pimp you out a little bit. So we did a great live session. This one happens to be free. You can get it on demand for becoming a government SME, but you're also coming up with GovCon Creative for the branding lab that you got coming out, because you got a brand new series on GovBrief. I want to point people there and make sure that they know about that, because part of that is making sure that your brand is congruent, and that if you do have your socioeconomic certifications, making sure you can get it out there, right?
That's right.
So I want to make sure everybody knows that that's what's happening with Rafa. And now I'm going to reach out to my personal cohort here, Rob Lundholm, and we're going to look at something to find opportunities that are posting on sam.gov. There's a couple things that I want to show you. So some of these are going to come in as special notices, where if you just look out for a little bit and do service disabled, you'll see, hey, they want to find out if you're service disabled. Why? Because they can help meet that 5%, right, Rafa?
Absolutely. And SDVOs get preference whenever there's a veterans related solicitation due to the Kingdomware ruling. It must be issued to a service disabled veteran owned small business first.
for VA.
For VA, correct.
Yeah, if you're doing VA work, yes, they
Mhm.
got to reach out to them first. So that's one way. And so we're going to see this in many, many different ways. This is SAM.bid, which is part of SAM Radar, right? If you're monitoring for, we want to see the 98%, right? We talked about the 98%. This is what's hitting SAM.gov. All this does what SAM.gov should do, right, Rob?
Yes, 100%. And
Yep.
we,
It
the,
should
we
just
have, we've
go ahead.
entirely flipped the script for September, and we're seeing sources sought notices. We're seeing these really wonky looking RFQs and RFPs that have information missing that are forcing people to reach out and so the contracting officer can do direct awards. There's some crazy stuff happening.
Love it. So we'll see. We saw a special notice. We saw a pre-solicitation. Me likes pre-solicitations and RFIs, right? Right? That's what we like.
Yes. You want to be there. You want to be there, and you want to be at sources sought too.
So here's a pre-solicitation for a set-aside, right? Now notice that, well, this came out yesterday with
And it was due,
offer due
it was due
yesterday.
yesterday.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the craziness that happens in September. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't change anything. They're still going to operate the same way. So we're talking, one of the things that I love about John is John comes in, and I know he's coming in on fire from New York, and he's like, man, I want to be in on this. This is a process that's going to take some time. So you're going to have to manage that. That's one of the things, John, you're going to have to manage. I had to manage it. I wanted 30, 60, 90. I wanted to be in. I want to be moving. We got to manage that expectation, or we're going to be really disappointed because the government doesn't operate the same way. Am I right, Todd Crane?
They've got a deadline. They got to get that money spent,
And we want to spend
and they're
it.
going to do it.
They're
They're going to do it.
All right, so here we have another one that's just total small business, which can include service disabled, right? Here's another one for sources sought. You're going to see things popping up that you're going to want to respond to. So the question that we had was, hey, how do I find number one, find the opportunities for service disabled? If you are service disabled or any other socioeconomic category, right, Rob? You can set that up in your system to monitor just for that, or set up a very special search to just watch for those, right? You can set up multiple searches in SAM Radar, right?
Up to five different searches, 50 NAICS codes, 50 PSC codes, 50 sets of keywords. You want to receive a lot of information and test the limits of SAM Radar, enter 50 NAICS codes and learn what it's like to receive 1,000 emails in an hour.
Yep.
Wow.
And one
Hey,
thing I can
Dave.
tell you is we can send out emails.
Oh yeah.
So-
Dr. Ricky Galloway has a question.
All right, go ahead.
I said, when they have such an immediate turnaround, is it because they already have a firm in mind but need to make it solicitations public? Correct.
Sounds pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hey, Dr.
Hey,
Ricky
Ricky,
Galloway.
I can answer that.
May be that way, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah. If it sounds like they have very, very specific criteria, Dr. Galloway, hi Ricky. If it sounds like they have very specific criteria and they're looking to close on this opportunity right away, they might have already been working with someone, and they've done their sources sought and they're just checking off the boxes. So as ugly as that sounds, that's reality.
yep, it is absolutely, positively reality.
I will
And-
put forth one caveat here, and that is because we're so close. Sometimes that's just the nature of the beast. Maybe they don't actually have somebody; they just don't have a lot of time, and that's just the nature of being, 21 days out.
And guess what? One of the cool things about that, by the way, and this kind of dovetails into some of the other tips for later, but what you just said, Todd, is everybody is resource limited. Nobody's got unlimited money. Nobody's got unlimited employees just waiting for something to come from the government. We're not there. Just like you, John, we're not in a place where we just have people just sitting around doing nothing, waiting for stuff to come, right? And the same thing happens. So they may, even if they wrote the RFP, they could miss it. Did you know that? They could miss it if they're not paying attention. It has happened. It has happened to me in the past. Now I made corrections so I don't have that problem anymore. but if you want to make sure that you're paying attention.
Or
So
they're
how
missing
can-
something, Dave, they're missing something that you have. And all of a sudden you've opened the eyes of the buyer.
And you what?
You've opened the eyes of the buyer. They may be missing something. That company, that one firm, they're like, oh, you could do that too.
Yeah.
So you never know.
So you definitely want to get to that answer of whether or not you can respond as quickly as possible, right?
Right. That's
And
it.
that, as a shameless plug, I will say, is what we're going to be talking about on September 24th.
That's right.
How you like how I'm on point
Look at
today.
that.
Or some point. And Dave, there's another question in from Joshua. It says the SPRS needs a score. Are you saying they don't? He was asking a question.
All
Well,
right.
that's something I was talking with him directly on.
So why are you talking about that, Todd? Because you happen to be
Right.
an expert in CMMC.
Bam. And yeah, so there was, so I'm trying to tackle some of the questions in chat. But Josh asked about, let me go back to the beginning of this. What about the CMMC score? Will Project Spectrum send me this score after we complete the cyber readiness check? And basically, I was saying is that CMMC is not score based; it's a go no go kind of operation. However, with the this new question by question, this SPRS is not necessarily tied to CMMC. It's more artifact of 800-171 and kind of a holdover. We don't know if it's going to stick around once we completely migrate over to CMMC. Who knows? But yeah, it's that's the reason why CMMC was implemented, or one of the reasons why is to make it, there's no gray area. It's you're either qualified or you're not.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are in the defense industrial base, DIB, right? All that gibberish you just heard, if everybody else heard gibberish, but you heard CMMC, and your ears perked up, all that gibberish is part of your world. John, guess what? This is also part of your world now, because you're doing work DLA, DIBs, and that you're gonna need to know what you're responsible for in order to see certain things. If you're gonna do core drilling in a building, you're gonna need to know about CMMC. Your head is gonna hurt, John. I'm telling you, because this is some of the red tape crap that you're gonna run into in doing business, especially with DoD at the moment, but it's coming in the future too. So I just want to make sure that everybody knew what we were talking about there, because that's some crazy stuff, right? So if you went into a coma for a minute or just got like acronym overload from what Todd just said, that's okay. It doesn't apply to you yet, but it's coming. All right.
And
so
it's going to expand to the entire. It's going to expand to the entire executive branch. Just wait.
It's coming. All right. So hot seat question number 2: what is the process for winning a sole source award? And when we look at that, this goes back to being part of, but not necessarily sole source, right? Of one offer being received. So real quick, hey, Brian, you still there?
Yeah, I'm trying to fix my camera, Dave, but I'm still here.
That's all right. So I will show a beautiful picture of you while we're waiting for your camera to work.
Yeah, that's a young picture. Thanks for that prettier picture.
So the reason why you wouldn't hear about Brian, he's been a contracting officer. Your former agency was what, Brian?
Medicare headquarters, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services.
Yep, 15 minutes from my house. So it's awesome. And you also have your own consulting company, acquisitionhelp.com. And this Friday, right? Oh, no, it's Thursday.
Yep, we're doing a new course with.
Is it Thursday or Friday?
Friday. It's Friday.
Well, that's not right.
Yeah, that's just all. When we changed it, we moved the date back a day.
Oh, you moved the date back a day. Okay.
Yeah.
So
we're going to talk about Susan Sales and all the confusion that goes along with them, and how you need to submit a proposal on a Sue versus Sal.
So if you have no idea the difference between a Sue and a Sal, you probably want to join this session.
If you're a farmer, you probably would, right?
Yeah.
If you're what?
If you're a farmer, it sounds like you probably would.
Yeah. Yep. And this has ladies and gentlemen, this has nothing to do with farming,
Yeah, yeah.
with the exception that you want to farm relationships. That was pretty good, right?
Hmm.
You want to
You can
build
do
those
better.
relations, plant those seeds for relationships and grow relationships so
Beautiful.
that you can get your fingerprints on the sewer of the sow. That wasn't bad, right, Brian?
No, and that's one of the important things. I mean, the government people are much tougher to meet with, but you really almost have to establish that relationship as I have in my book, Dave. One of the reasons I wrote my book, and it's an old book, it's 9 years old now, but when I was still in the government, because I'd meet with contractors twice a week and see what was working and what wasn't working. And we had a contractor, our agency, when you could walk into buildings, he built his whole company up that way just by walking around the buildings and getting sole source contracts. And he's doing about 150 million a year, and that's how he really got his business going. But it's a little tougher today.
Not fair. That's
Yeah.
not fair. That's not fair. That should have been out for full and open competition, says the FAR. FAR
Yeah.
says you shall, as a contracting officer, to the maximum extent possible.
And technically, you can meet with them up to receipt of proposal. The FAR says, FAR 15201. But in reality, they're probably not going to want to talk to you if they're getting ready to submit a solicitation out. But you should know what FAR 15201 says from that standpoint.
And maybe you just do a little training on the FAR, just a little.
Just a little.
Just a
That
little.
is actually our most popular training course. We teach the feds about the FAR. We teach feds about CPARs. We do a simulated technical evaluation panel training exercise. And on the industry side, we've trained about 4,000 people, just from the standpoint of helping them win or manage the work that they have. So
Love it. So at this time of the year, right? So, and I love what Todd was on the Monday roundtables yesterday and brought this up in the morning session. So, by the way, Monday roundtables are included in Sam Radar. Little plug there. But when we talk about this, and like Brian said, you can't engage the program side of the house. That's illegal after the RFP hits, right?
yeah, you should. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
you
sure.
can't do that. But what you can do is you can submit your proposal. There's a couple different things. First of all, I don't mind asking if we have a socioeconomic set aside capability, right? Because Raphael, you can confirm on this too.
Yep,
Any one of the socioeconomic categories can be sole sourced,
that is correct.
right?
Yeah.
They can be sole sourced. Now, 8A is the one that everybody understands and knows. So contracting officers are slow to adopt new things. Shocking as that might be, Brian Hebel, contracting officers, risk averse sons of guns that you are, right?
Yeah.
So they're slowly bringing that, but we've talked about that too. Brian and I have at different sessions. But the idea here is we can ask them, hey, can you sole source this to me if you have a socioeconomic category like service disabled veteran owned, right?
Yeah.
Rafa?
Yeah, actually, Dave, I was thinking about John when you were talking to him before, and if he was a SDVO OSB and he's got some unique tools, they could post something and get to him non-competitively if that would be the case. On a sole source basis, if he's got some unique drills, like that would be probably maybe a perfect thing for a SDVO OSB.
Or any small business, by the way, because you
Yep.
can.
Yep.
You can do that. And with a Joe Fock, as you would say, or JNA, like I would say, justification and approval is how those happen, right?
Yeah.
So
Probably be a little harder with a small than it would be with a SDV OSB.
that's true.
Yeah.
That would be true. I did, by the way, let me see if I can call this up. I did do a briefing on that with sole source contracts. You can find that on GovBrief because I just did that one a couple weeks ago, I think. I do a lot of those things. So, real quick, because one of the things that's really necessary is, first of all, you have to ask the question. You say, hey, will you? It can already be a live solicitation. They probably won't pull it back and give it sole source. But if you reach out to them and say, hey, you want to sole source this, they may say yes. They could say yes. And they can pull it back and just award it.
Dave, I had one recently where they had an RFI out and they responded to the RFI and the program office really liked them. And they were a woman-owned small business set aside for a while, and they're not anymore. And to make a long story short, the government ended up putting it out on GSA as a woman-owned small business set aside. Well, they're not a woman-owned small business set aside anymore. They let the program office know that, and the program office didn't want to give them the opportunity to bid. Totally changed the acquisition strategy. So, I mean, they had a relationship because they responded to the RFI.
There you go.
Dave, our friend Tom Stallone, remember Tom? He weighed
do.
in with a comment.
Some of the best are tribally owned 8As. Can sole source multiple companies under the same tribe. Sounds like somebody who knows a little bit about that, huh, Tom Stallone? Awesome. All right, so real quick, I'm just going to do a quick review of this so that everybody because there's a lot of things that got dropped on us from Brian and Rafa on this. So first of all, this is where we want to live. We want to drive it to sole source. And if we understand who the stakeholders are, let's talk about the stakeholders. Contracting officers, specialists, right? They're the procurement people, program managers, contracting officer representatives are part of the process, usually after contracts are awarded. And then you have your senior management. Let's talk about what that looks like. You have your politicals that are appointed by the president, right? And then you have your SESs, senior executive service people. And then you have the rest of the folks that fall under that. And they fall under two different areas. This program folks care about getting the job done, and procurement folks care about getting the contract done. This is really important for everybody. If you walk away with anything today, there's two different decision makers and they have two different buying motives for how they go about their business because their jobs are completely different. So what happens is program says, I need something, throws it over to procurement because program managers can't buy it. Procurement has to buy it. That's why there's that red wall in between. That's why in your handouts, this is the older version, but the newer version is there. The winnable opportunity matrix. It looks like this. The program manager throws it over the fence to the contracting officer, becomes an opportunity that results in an award that we want to, that's where we come in and we are the ones here. This is why it's so important to get to the contracting officers, also known as KOs, because the DOD, COs means commanding officer. And they're not giving up their title to contracting officers. So KOs in DOD, COs in civilian agencies. Everybody all right with that? That's why we built this. When you look at Sam Radar and you're watching things, this happens now all the way around the year, but throughout the year, building those relationships. Why? Because if we don't, your competition is going to keep winning. And if you don't inject yourself, and I love Denise's tagline. What's your tagline, Denise?
The business disruptor.
The business disruptor. I love it. I love that. Because if we don't disrupt the pattern that's happening right now, if you don't disrupt it, it's going to continue.
That's right.
And then you can sit on the outside and you complain, I'm not winning a contract. Or you can start doing what matters and get in the mix. And I'll talk about, there's a sole source contracts that I did before, but you can check, Sam Radar is built for that. Just know that that's why we built it. All right, let's talk about for the last 3 weeks. And I want to get some insight from everybody, but last 3 weeks, I know for a fact that we're going to be talking about these two things that are very important. We have to turn those contracts around quickly, and we will have last minute P card contracts. P cards, how many billions of dollars get spent on P cards? Anybody know?
How many billions?
Billions.
It's over $40 billion a year at this point.
On P cards.
Yes, sir. P cards.
That is crazy.
Yep.
So when you think about that, most of us, hey, by the way, they can do P cards as far as contracting officers. What was your limit, Brian, on your warrant capability?
Unlimited for just about 30 years.
Unlimited. And there's different stages,
I could have
right,
bought the White House. I could have bought the White House, Dave.
Well,
There we
We're
go.
gonna cover, please cover my mic right now.
So that's why if everybody, just telling you, there's places to be able to make money all across the board. And the end of the fiscal year, they're trying to spend money. P cards happens all the time though too. Anyway, so there you go. Upcoming, the tips is where we are coming up, right? Everybody, hey.
Hey, Dave,
Yes, go ahead.
there's a question in from Uma in the Q&A. Are all pre-solicitations set aside for an established contractor? So I don't know if anybody could answer that. It's
No.
No.
okay. No.
Nope.
No.
But you should read it as if somebody's got their fingerprints on it already, shouldn't you? Right? Even in pre-solicitations, if that's the first time you're seeing it, hey, that's okay. But in any solicitation or pre-solicitation, most of the time somebody's got their fingerprints on it, right, Todd?
Absolutely.
That was your
We,
job, right, Todd?
Yeah, like when I was at Raytheon, we used to write draft contracts because legally we can't write the contracts ourselves, but we would write draft contracts. We would send it to them and they would send it right back with no changes. And so, yeah, it happened all the time.
So to your point, Uma, the answer is no, but you got folks like Todd in there putting their fingerprints all over it. And everybody here, flip that upside down and realize you can do the same thing, right? Just know that you can do the same thing that Todd was doing. Get your fingerprints on it. It takes time to get your fingerprints on it, because Raytheon did not just I dream a genie into the federal space, right? Everybody, and got half of the people here had no idea what that reference was. Let me see. Todd, do you even know what that I dream a genie reference is?
I heard about it in in like the history books or something. It was kind of like, in the hieroglyphics and everything. Like I think I remember studying that sometime.
So some people know, some people don't. That's good.
Oh, that's pretty
All
funny.
right. So I do want to get to other questions if you've got any, but first things first, get ready. Organize your team. Make sure that, because those orders can come from any place and they're going to go to wherever the government knows, right? So if you have something on SAM, if you have a GSA contract, make sure that stuff is getting forwarded. So many folks, I'm telling you, so many folks are going to miss something that you could have won if it went to the right account. And then you want to establish, what's that?
Real quick, that's a great time to answer this other question that Tim asked earlier. He asked, how important is it to be registered in SAM.gov? How important is it to have your information up to date in SAM? And that's, you hit it right there. It's 100% mandatory. If your information is not correct, you can't do business.
I wonder how you get to be correct, Ralph Villamorero.
How do you get to be correct?
How do you be correct on SAM.gov?
Well, I mean, it's you can show up as accurately as possible and have a detailed profile, but as a contractor, but that's really about it. I mean, you really need to have a fully compliant and comprehensive profile to make sure that all of your NAICS codes, PSC codes, keywords, key technical certifications are reflected, and also in your DSBS profile, which is linked to it. But that's all you can really do.
Yep. And who can help them do that, I wonder?
We can help them. We can help you clean up your profile, and also, Dave, many people ignore the importance of DSBS, the Dynamic Small Business Search database, which belongs to the SBA and is maintained by the SBA. This database is really a comprehensive snapshot of who you are as a contractor. Past performance references are there. Contracting officers that you've been working with in the past should be there. The amounts and the scopes of work, your NAICS codes, which carry over from SAM, and also your product supply codes, your PSC codes, and your certifications, the ones that are validated by the SBA, are there. Anything that's third-party related, you can reference, but they don't attest to the veracity of the information that's presented there. So, for example, if you have Six Sigma certs, if you have IDLE, if you have PMP certifications, if you have open source intelligence certs, if you have cybersecurity certifications, all of these should be present in your dynamic small business search profile, because this is the first place that people go. If you have an active DSBS profile, chances are you're already registered in SAM because you need a cage code there, right? So that's step
true.
number one. And that would be like the
I do
sniff
want to,
test.
hey, Rafa, I want to point people to your DSBS on demand, because I want to make sure, number one, get through this. The biggest thing is, at least right now, because the DSBS profile, you can look at that in 2025.
Yep.
Right now, Sam better be active or no money, right? And that has to be active and accurate, right, Rafa?
Yep, that's right.
Yep.
It has to be active and it has to be accurate and it should be up to date. I mean, you should
Yep.
always look at it as, you need to look at this, look at it as your company's credit file, if you will.
Yep.
Any discrepancy there, you want to clean up, because in the eyes of a government and potential teaming partners, or someone that is writing a proposal and is sourcing a qualified or a seemingly qualified vendor in any given region based on the criteria that they can pull up there, your profile should be singing your praises
All the time. All right.
Yep.
So getting ready, being registered on SAM, be ready, and establishing a response system so that people know what they need to do. This is internal in your organization. If it's just you, then you got your response system. But if you have a team, make sure you have a response system. Next, forward your main number, whatever your GSA contract number, right? Whatever the phone number is. When somebody calls, you want somebody to answer the phone. This goes all the way through the wee hours of October 1st. Now, if you're using VoIP systems, you can do that pretty easily. I don't know how many people have landlines anymore, but make sure that it's forwarded to all those different places. You want to monitor your emails. How many times did we see last minute deals? Last year, we saw a last minute deal that came in way, way early in the morning on 10/1, as I mentioned. But this is how that, remember we were talking about reduced competition? This is it. You used to do this all the time, Brian. Well, you worked on a lot of different stuff in CMS. There's a lot of folks that I've seen that, because you only had a few contracts in a given year, right? A couple hundred contracts a year, Brian Hebel?
Well, some of the bigger services, they might only have 5, but if they're typing, buying stuff like John, they probably have hundreds of buys.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to go to existing BPAs, existing IDIQs, because they're faster, right?
Whatever's quick,
Whatever's fast, right?
And
Contract holders.
whatever I'm used to using. Quick and what I'm used to using. If I haven't used it before, I probably wouldn't go. But even in John's case, there might be people outside there could be people inside of DoD that might not know about that DLA buying tool, which I don't know what it is. I didn't buy in DLA, but
It's dibs.
Yeah.
DLA knows it, but DoD, you're right. They may be buying stuff off of credit cards. So check your junk mail several times a day, because you might miss something. Monitor sam.gov and eBuy hourly. Real important, by the way.
Mhm.
Sam.gov is also monitored by Sam Radar. So let Sam Radar do the work. How do you like that? You like that for my shameless plug? All right. And also, your short turnarounds will have limited competition. This is the key. And what I love about what you said, Todd, yesterday during the roundtables, you have a Word document. What do you call it?
Oh, I don't remember what it's called, but we had Raytheon, we had a like this massive document of all these different language, right? So if we had a short term kind of bid, or even the longer terms, we would copy and paste. And I think the word I use is Frankenstein it together. we would like copy paste from all these different past things that were successful, put it all together, and someone would come in and wordsmith it, make it all seem congruent, and then we'd send it off. We can get a proposal done in a day with that, because it was so easy. We just, copy or Control F and replace the new stuff for this particular contract. Now, obviously, that wasn't for the big, like, billion-dollar contracts, but for the short-term, smaller kind of things where it didn't make sense for us to spend a whole bunch of money developing the proposal, that's what we would do.
They could still be worth millions.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we
So-
didn't really do a whole lot less than millions, right?
Yeah, because Raytheon, right? So forward your fax number to your email, just so you know. Every once in a while, that still happens. Believe it or not, they still use faxes. Now, when we get into the weekend, right, we're going to be looking at. If you take a look, I'm gonna show you something on the calendar. Let's see if I can get my calendar up. You'll be able to see my calendar and all the rubbish that I have. But I want to look at real quick. I want to look at. This is the weekend prior to September 30th. You have the 27th, 28th, and the 29th, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Stuff's going to be coming out with 24-hour turnaround. You want to make sure you get it, right? The other thing I would say is make sure you have redundancy. I had clients in the past that missed stuff because they didn't monitor appropriately. Make sure you're forwarding that stuff. And when you're creating your submissions, take that Frankenstein document that Todd's talking about. Make sure that your submissions are complete. Standard forms are signed. Check all the boxes. But I will tell you one other little hint, that if you're the only one that responds to that thing, they may come back to you, right, Todd?
Yep. Just hey, we noticed you made a mistake here or whatever, or this isn't fully compliant. Can you resubmit this or can you fix these things and resubmit?
And that looks just like a sole source award. Just like it when you're done, because it's only one of you.
It's really embarrassing for a solicitation to come back with 0 qualified bids. So they'll make it quick. Hey, just fix this real quick and get it back to us.
So love that. So we had contracts last year, the Monday roundtable, somebody came in, Sam Radar user, had an opportunity. They won that contract signed at 4:26 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's close as I've ever seen. But that is the truth. They'll use Hawaiian time and make sure all your documentation is presented appropriately and is dated 9/30. Because it doesn't help them if it's 10/1, right, Todd?
Right.
All right, real quick, I didn't get to hear from Sally too much because we're really talking about last minute stuff. But a lot of this stuff for building relationships, I want to point you towards Sally. She does connections. You also do representation for folks at events, right, Sal?
I do. I help you with your entire conference campaign to make sure you get your ROI, looking at your buyer persona, what conferences do you need to be where you have the people who buy your solutions attend, and then really looking at the attendee list, making sure if you have a booth that you're all on brand, which Dr. Guerrero can help with. Then bringing people to the booth and then post, and so really getting a lot of leads there, and you can get some really senior level people there at conferences, and then following up on LinkedIn as well. Thanks, Dan.
Yep. LinkedIn she's the jam on LinkedIn.
Yep.
So Rafa, you gonna join me today at 1 again, or are you busy? Rafa already gone. I
Thanks,
guess
Scott.
he's not. All right. Rafael Marrero also joined me today at 1 p.m. Hold on a sec. I have a whole bunch of stuff here. I was gonna get everybody here. Here we go. Todd Crane, appreciate you joining us. This is Todd Crane's first time on this session, but we've done Gov Brief before. Appreciate you, ma'am. Always questions about CMMC. If that's in your vocabulary, talk to Todd. And if you want to know about for-profit grants, this was brand new to me. I love what this lady talks about, and she's an RFP writer, and that is her strength and my 100% weakness. So if you need some help with that, please join us on the 24th and October 16th. We're going to be talking about that for-profit grants again. We didn't have Peter Timbus here today. He was COVIDized, I think. So
Yeah, he is.
So pray for Peter. That is a mild case of COVID for him, but he helps with funding federal contracts. Once you win a contract and you have to fund it, that's your guy. Banks don't understand federal contracts. This guy does. So make sure you check that out. Always love having Brian Hebel on the call. I love, especially when his camera doesn't work.
You got that right, Dave.
So we're working on some stuff that's going to be coming out in the next month with CPARs, right, Brian?
Yeah, we got a great CPARS product coming out that'll really help industry get higher ratings. So we're been working on it for 2 years, Dave, together.
Yes, we have. It's been a journey for sure. And Friday is the Sioux versus the Sow, with Maria Durham, right? Maria's joining
Yep.
you, right?
Yep, Maria's an expert in that area and insider for that matter.
She's an insider, and I can say this. Brian won't say it. She's a current insider. Current insider. All right, guys. We'll see you next month. Actually, Raphael's going to be taking the lead because I'm going to be in Ireland. So are you, Brian, right?
Yeah, Dave, when are you going to be there?
We're
When are
going
you
to be there from the 1st to the 15th, and you and I are going to connect. We're
How
going to
about
meet up with
10th to the 24th.
your 10th to the 24th. So somewhere in the middle. Freaking Ireland is so small you can drive coast to coast in a
Yep.
day, right? So we're
That's
going to
funny.
catch up. I'm hoping that you and me and Shane Cram. So Shane Cram runs HHS. He runs stuff for HHS policy.
Huh.
He's going to be
Well,
there too.
Well, we'll talk at 3:00.
Yeah, and Dacian is gonna. My guys from Dacian are gonna be there. They deal with contract flow down. He's gonna meet up with me there. I want to meet more people in Ireland than I meet in the United
That is
States.
crazy.
live.
That is crazy.
It is nuts. But welcome everybody. Rob Lundholm, put your stuff in the chat. Make sure everybody can get to that. Meet up with Rob to get on Sam Radar today.
If we can do it, we do a free live interactive Sam Radar demonstration every single day at 2:00, every single weekday. Sorry, I did post the sign up link in the chat. It's free, it's fun, and always good information. So join us today if you can, or any other weekday. Love to meet you, learn about your company.
And you have the report that's also in the handouts, right?
We got it.
Right. So
Breaking
yeah,
it
make
down
sure
every
that you
day.
review that. He'll review that report. Take your NAICS codes and your PSCs. If you want to learn more about NAICS codes and PSCs, that's a great place to do it. But look for your competitors. That's where you're going to get your biggest bang for the buck. And I will see you guys at 1 p.m. If you want to join me today, we have over 90 people registered for that.
Wow.
That is insane. All right, I didn't get to the final poll, but we're gonna get everybody out of here anyway. But make sure that if you get the chance, connect with the folks that you met here. They're good folks, and we're gonna get you guys out of here. Appreciate you guys joining me. Denise, love you. See you.
All right. you
Todd,
too.
great
Take
stuff.
care. Bye, y'all.